Probably got a lot of emails.
You got 8 more minutes. It's only 12:22.
I thought we started at 12:20.
Huh?
I thought we started at 12:20.
I'm joking.
Oh. Good afternoon, everyone. Would you mind joining me? Well, joining Carol is going to lead us in prayer today. Thank you. You're welcome.
Let us pray. Good and gracious Father, we thank you for this beautiful day. We thank you for all the blessings that you've bestowed on each and every one here. We ask, Lord, that we remember the things that you've taught us about loving one another, about caring for one another, and about sharing in our community. We ask that you give the club the wisdom and the knowledge to do the job that you would have us do in this community. Thank you for everyone here today. We ask that you give our speaker the opportunity to share with us a part of the world that he lives in now, in working with special needs individuals. In your name we pray. Amen.
I'm doing the Pledge of Allegiance.
Like, where's Waldo?
I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And the 4-way test is over here today.
First, to the truth. Second, is to fair to all concerned. Third, will it build goodwill and better friendship. Fourth, will it be beneficial to all concerned.
Thank you all very much. I just wanted to, I think everybody maybe got to sign it. Josh, I'm not sure. We got a card. Joelle lost her mom yesterday. So did everybody get a chance?
I didn't.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm gonna sign
I
it.
got it. I think I turned
Make
it
sure Josh gets that too. Thank you so much. You're not taking a bite, so I'm gonna go ahead and turn it over to you, Sharon. I actually.
Thank you.
Well, hey, at least I always get caught with my mouth full, so I try to pick good time.
Wait, because this is freedom. So today I'm actually being an official assistant governor. So when you're assistant governor, you have a district, and we're in District 2, area 2, I'm sorry. And our area is comprised of Wheeling, Moundsville, and New Martinsville. So I got a little package of the official banner to hang on the podium for each club. And so today is my official AG visit to our club. And I wore the badge and everything. So this is for you. And you also got things that I thought they gave out, but if you did, that extra, and if you didn't, you don't.
All right, thank you very much. I appreciate that. Now, Sharon, please let me know, what am I supposed to do with this?
We
have to hold it.
Yeah.
Every week.
Yeah, every week you just stand
I
there.
really like to wear this.
Well, I used to hang this and then it disappeared because it got lost.
Oh, yeah.
My dad's the type, he keeps the plastic on for 2 years.
Oh, I know.
He won't use anything for 2 years, it's gotta stay in the plastic, so I don't, I'm breaking all the rules of the household right here.
I'm taking off. Oh, it's probably in a ball in the back.
I really don't want to take this off.
You might lay it, I don't know if it would fit in a badge case or not. Oh, how perfect.
Thank you so much for joining us today. We always love to have you. And we're spoiled because we get to keep you here, so thank you so much.
That's your, when you're the assistant governor, you get this.
So when I was at a business after hours last week, Brittany was gracious enough to bring us our district grant from last year. We did receive it, so thanks for all the teamwork to get that done. I know we were a little late getting in our last finale of application. So thank you, Shelley, so much for doing that, and I'm just gonna pass this over to Josh, and they actually awarded us the full amount, so
Yay.
very, very gracious and happy about that. And that leads me into, I did go ahead and apply for the next district grant for this year. Shelley, do you have any idea how long it takes to hear back from them?
No, because I never heard back. I just kept following up with whoever the president was, so hopefully you hear.
Okay, I do know who I need to reach out to if I don't hear anything, but I figure I just did that last week, so hopefully we'll hear something.
And I
in a
think
couple
now it's
weeks.
all online.
Yes, everything was online. I mean, it emailed me immediately and it said everything was signed and submitted. And then just to let everybody know in case we just want to be on the up and up, Linda volunteered to do some shopping with the district grant, so I put you down as one of the committee members. And then Shelley, I listed you as well, so we had to have 3 separate members there. All right, just a friendly reminder that the blanket fundraiser for Augusta Levy is going on until August 7th. Please share. We're about $750 away from our goal, so we are trucking right along. And it is actually on display over at Main Street Bank. So a huge thank you to Stacy and Main Street Bank for allowing us to put it up there. And then just wanted to make a quick announcement. This is not Rotary related, but it is a good cause. There is going to be a donation-based fitness class. It is going to be led by Jill Spangler, who's going to be one of our speakers here in a couple weeks. She is a nutritionalist down at WVU Medicine, but she was nominated as the Ohio Valley Women of Impact for the American Heart Association. So she is going to be doing a fitness class outside, weather permitting. If not, it'll be under shelter. This will be tomorrow from 6 to 7 p.m. at Grandview Park. Free for everybody just to come, and if you want to give a donation to the American Heart Association, that would be great. And that is all I have for the good of the group today. Does anybody have anything else they'd like to share with us? Oh, I get some faces. What's going on? Thank you.
We got caught.
All right, well, I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Bob with no food in his mouth, and he can introduce our wonderful speaker for the day.
Our speaker is Jay Prager from Easter Seals. He's been with them for 5 years, and he's going to talk a little bit about what he does and everything there. So let's welcome Jay.
It's wonderful to be here. I like to talk, but Bob said, just keep it brief. Brevity is the soul of wit, so I'll try that. I like to talk and I like to eat, so inviting me here to eat and talk is pretty good.
Every Wednesday, Jay.
Every Wednesday, I remember that. I was here a couple years ago, so I didn't bring the whole dog and pony show with the slides and everything. But I did want to update you a little bit about what's going on with Easter Seals. And as again, I thank you for being here, Rotary. We know this is the foundation of the business community for Rotarians. In fact, I think someone told me one time the Kiwanis own the town, the Rotarians run the town, and the Lions enjoy the town. So I'm not sure which is right. Nationally, Easter Seals began in 1919 in Elyria, Ohio, near Toledo. There was a businessman who lost his son in a streetcar accident, and the reason was there was no medical care. So first he built a hospital in Elyria, and then he noticed after a few years that children with who had various challenges were kind of like hidden from sight, so not made public. So in 1919 he founded the National Association for Crippled Children. His name was Edgar Allan, not Edgar Allan Poe, just Edgar. That's easy to remember. Our chapter began, and Easter Seals, there's a national organization, but each chapter is an individual independent franchise, I guess, franchisee. Our chapter began in Wheeling in 1937. Our mission is to improve the lives of children and adults with disabilities. And the big goal that we want is to promote equal access and inclusion for all members of the community. We have offices in Wheeling, Steubenville, and Parkersburg. We're in about 17 counties up and down the Ohio River. This year, we'll provide medical services to about 2,500 individuals. 90% are children under 16, I would say, but there are some adults as well who come through the process. We have a physician on staff. She is a physiatrist, which is different from a psychiatrist. That means physical medicine and rehabilitation. We have several, about 18 or 19 providers of physical therapy, occupational therapy, speech, and early intervention. So, but most of the people are children. We can treat people with the entire gamut of issues, from a minor speech delay to something profound such as cerebral palsy or autism. We're fully licensed and accredited by an organization called CARF. We're one of only 2 organizations in the state that does that. One important note, and it might be one takeaway that we have, in the last few years, we're seeing more and more children with social, emotional, and behavioral issues almost as frequently as children with physical issues. And again, when you think of Easter Seals or when you think of rehab, you remember the smiling, docile little girl in the wheelchair. That's not the kind of people we're seeing anymore. There are a lot of behavioral problems. Therefore, in 2019, we partnered with another group called Kendall Behavioral Systems. And they do what they call ABA, Applied Behavioral Analysis, for the children. It complements the services we provide so that we can treat not just physical, but also emotional problems. ABA is a scientific system of using positive reinforcement to modify poor behavior. So I guess I don't think it's like Pavlov and the dog, but it does help. Currently, most of the insurers only recognize ABA therapy for children when they've been diagnosed on the autism scale before age 8. Hopefully that will change. But we do see a lot of children with a lot of behavioral issues as well. One of the things we're proudest of is no one has ever been turned away from Easter Seals because they're inability to pay. We believe as part of our mission to offer open access to the most vulnerable segment of our society. We think that's an integral part of our mission. That results in about $300,000 worth of free care that we provide annually. Therefore, because of that, we depend on community support. Our program revenues are about 60% of our budget. Trusts and endowments that we receive annually are about 20%. The other 20% we are out panhandling for money. And luckily, we've always met our goal because I think it's a very, very good cause. The community supported us extremely well. I don't know if you saw last week, I just got to be behind a big check for $60,000 from John Calpers and his roofing company. They put on a golf tournament and the proceeds go to us. So we're grateful to John. We're grateful to many, many other donors who support us. Last year, and I'm sure I don't have to tell people here who are all business people, the novel coronavirus really put a hurting on our business. But I will say we got resourceful, and through telemedicine, through Zoom, Doxy, there's 18 different ones, I'm not sure. Microsoft Teams, whatever, but we were able to provide at least some care and provide some continuity to the children. Speech therapy is not very difficult over Zoom. Physical therapy is a little more challenging. So it was something that was very, very difficult. We did shut down seeing patients face to face in March of 2020, and we started reopening again in October, and now we are fully open, but again, we don't know what the future holds with the coronavirus. So we do practice PPE, I should probably wear a mask. And we screen all the patients, and knock on wood, we've not had one case from, we've stopped several from coming in, but we've not had one case among the people there. So, finally, and again, I told you I'd be brief. So maybe Chad would stretch this out.
I'll ask questions.
Oh, okay, excellent. Since we depend on the community for support, we have to make sure that we're good stewards of their generosity. And our annual report shows that about 84% of our expenses are for direct patient care. Again, we have about 30 employees, I think 23 or 24 of them are direct care providers. So 16% is administration and fundraising. That number went down since Bob retired. But we're very proud of the statistics because we have to show since we are on community support that we're doing a good job. But that's all I have. I didn't mean to speak so quickly, so I'll be happy to answer any questions.
I
Shelley?
do have a couple questions. I do.
Shelley.
So you had talked about autism. Do you work with Augusta Levy? Do you
Um,
guys use resources?
we share patients, and we are working on it. Actually, I'm probably talking out of school, but we are going to jointly do a fundraiser in November with Augusta League. But we look at them as a complement, not as a competitor. They're, when kids come to Easter Seals, it's probably once a week, and some of them have all three services, PT, OT, and speech, and ABA therapy, because we offer the same thing. They believe the ABA therapy is more of an education, so they have only ABA, maybe a little of occupational therapy, but it's like 6-8 hours a day. So most of our kids do ABA, it's probably like an hour and a half to 2 hours. So it's the same therapy, but with a little different philosophy of how.
So I just learned this morning that WB Medicine, Karen Glendale has, is it called the Autistic Center? Or there's actually a doctor who is a psychiatrist that specializes in children
Oh, wonderful.
for autistic, and I should know his name.
I saw him
We
on
work out
Facebook.
together. He hit. I don't know.
That sounds right.
I call
Yeah.
him, his first name is Nihit, and so we've been working out together for a little bit, and so we were talking this morning about some of the things that he, what kind of patients that he has, and I didn't know that, so then I got online and did some research about it, and I didn't know that was here in Glendale. But that's pretty exciting.
I think when OBMC went under, I think it was a huge void in behavioral health, and I know that Reynolds has done a lot in that
He
regard.
worked at OBMC and then got brought, and now has an office here, I think it's professional building in Glendale, but it's under WBU.
Yeah, we work a little bit with psychologists and psychiatrists. We love to have more input from them, but they are busy people. And autism is on the rise. We don't really understand why, whether it just was underdiagnosed in the past, but they say about 1 out of every 69 children now have some form of it. And I'm getting out of my element a little bit, but there's a scale. So you can kind of be a little bit like me, socially inept, or a lot, or you can be anywhere on that scale. So it's not like a one size fits all kind of behavior.
Yeah, I just thought that was interesting. I didn't know that we had that here locally.
Yeah,
or-
no, that's great. I'm really glad to hear because it's needed.
Yeah, I'm not sure whether Dr. Ventosa was a member, officially member of this Rotary Club.
He was.
He was.
He was?
Mhm.
I think I knew he was ahead of me when I came to town. We have lost him, by the way, in the Philippines. They went back there to visit relatives and all that, and his wife died and he died. By the way, Boots was the first and only neonatologist in the state of West Virginia when he came here. He never practiced it. He just practiced general pediatrics, but he was the first and only neonatologist in the state. It was Dr. Allen who was responsible in getting him here. Kenny, of course, is a Rotarian, so you know how the Rotarians are. They work beyond
The best. Yes, ma'am.
Why do you think the behavioral?
Why
the
the
increase?
increase? Have no clue.
I mean, is it just the drugs or is it something else?
There's several theories about it, but this is personal opinion. I'm a CPA, not a doctor. But, I think it was probably underdiagnosed. And that's one of the things you see a child, say, inappropriate behavior or misbehaving, it's difficult to determine, is it poor parenting or is there something inherently genetically wrong that's causing that? That's a real tough thing, but I think that's part of it, the identification of the disease.
What are some of the annual fundraising? Oh, sorry.
Nobody wants you to talk.
No, I want to share.
That's okay, go ahead.
What are some of the annual fundraisers that you have that maybe that you've been doing for a
Well,
while?
When I first got there a few years ago, the biggest one was a telethon. But it's sort of a 1980s, 90s kind of program. And we also did a festival of trees in Parkersburg. And we're also part of the golf tournament, the regatta, and several other events where there's someone else's event we're the beneficiary, and all we do is help out. As you know, and you know Allison Kokonski. Yeah. We've tried to talk to our board that the old event-based fundraisers are kind of inefficient. And they're costly. The airtime at WTRF was extremely costly. When I got there, it used to be 24 hours and 12 and 6, and we cut it to 3. And you know, still, it didn't make a lot of money. So we came up with a new philosophy about our events. Number one, they should showcase children. They should include the children. Number two, they should emphasize programs and services to make sure that the community is aware of what we're doing. So it's not as imperative that we make money off the fundraiser as increase awareness, which will obviously at some point in time increase referrals. Yes, ma'am.
I feel like I should jump off or something. Jay, how do you and your clients get connected?
Through referral from a physician. Well, let me go back. There's 3 lines of service that we have. Number one is traditional outpatient medical rehab. And that would require a referral from a physician for PT and OT. And again, we have a physician on staff as well, Dr. Kitts, and we have a second physician from UPMC who comes down occasionally. So we have an agreement with that. So they can refer to therapy, or other doctors can refer to therapy, mainly pediatricians or family practitioners who have large pediatric populations to practice. So they would send a referral in, we would develop a plan of care and send it back. Yes, we've evaluated Johnny or whoever and said we think they need PT twice a week, and we go from there. That's the traditional one. A second line of business, we're also in the school systems. We're in about 23 school systems, more in Ohio than in West Virginia. I'll get to that in a minute. But for the school systems, maybe the teacher sees that someone's not progressing, or their speech is delayed, or they're just not, and they talk with the parents and said, hey, we have, through the IDEA, the law, they're required to provide the therapy. And so they contract with us to do that. So the parent says, yes, I can go ahead and do speech on my child, and then they would contact us. The reason we're in Ohio more than West Virginia is the Ohio school systems are much smaller. West Virginia's are consolidated. They can hire their own speech pathologists because it's profitable for them. And in Belmont County, I think there are 7 different school systems: Shadyside, Blair, Bridgeport, Union Local. Anyway, so they can't afford a full-time person, so they contact us, and we go out, and our therapists go out and see them. And the third is a federal program, which is administered by the state, called Birth to 3. It's early intervention. That's if your child's not hitting their milestones, their markers, not walking by 1 or talking by 2 or whatever, all the different milestones, we can come in and evaluate the people. So on any given day, we'll be seeing people in 3 different things, and you'll say, gee, there's only like 5 people in the building, but there's 10 more out in the community. But for the long-winded answer is referral from the physician. Okay. Yes, ma'am.
What percentage of the ones that you evaluate are deemed not necessary to be there?
Very few. Most of them we can do something. We do like 90-day treatment periods, and then after 90 days evaluate and say, well, they establish goals for each one. And if they met their goals, then they're discharged, or they're not capable of getting a higher level of function. So we have some that, a lot, especially the speech, are probably 90 days, maybe 6 months most, but we have some of the more profound patients who've been with us for a long, long time. Yes, ma'am.
Jay, you said that you have some adults, primarily mostly children. Are the adults usually individuals who have started out as children in the
Yes.
program and continued?
Yeah, Dr. Kitts has been there well over 30 years, and she has some patients that are in their 40s.
Oh,
So,
I
yeah.
knew she'd been there a long, long time, so.
We have one patient, I can't name the name, but Easter Seals National used to have a telethon, and she was the national poster child in 1990. She still comes to Easter Seals. But yeah, most of them are people who started out as children. So the therapy side, Dr. Kitts will treat people, adults and children. The therapists are pretty much 100% people.
I remember at one time, Dr. Kitts was very active and involved in a program in conjunction with Ogilvy Park and the Stables, and they did a writing program. Do they still do that
We
today?
do it. We've had it canceled from the pandemic. We've replicated it. We put it in Parkersburg. It's called Ride with Pride. And that's where basically the children, if they're able, we put them on a horse and walk them around and do the various stretches and play
My
with the
granddaughter
deers.
participated in that and loved that program.
Yeah, the kids
Did
like,
very
they
well.
like the horses. I mean, and the ones that are able, they tell them, teach them to like feed the horse, bale hay, and I don't think they make them scoop poop. But they really like it. I went down about 2 weeks ago. They have one in Parkersburg. So it was, but I think Dr. Kitts wants to start it up in the fall, but she wants to be careful.
Sure.
This is definitely not a residential though. They do not stay over.
No,
It's just
they
a,
do not.
okay.
But now that you say that, when I first got the Easter seals, I thought that you did, children with disabilities. But over the last many, many years, since we're all independent, other Easter seals organizations have branched out into everything like adult residential, workforce development, VA, Veterans Affairs. So we're kind of like still the root, the core value, but many of the others have gone into several different directions. So no overnight either.
I didn't think you were. I've been involved in it for a number of years. I have a cousin who has a child who is 33 years old, and he was autistic, but he was severe. He was never really one to walk. He never was able to talk. And of course, as an adult, he was much harder to care for. So, you know, it's been really hard to watch him because I have a son that's identical age. And, you know, he's done everything, and this one, you know, has just not done anything. So it's bad.
Can't explain why.
No, you can't.
Thank you for lunch. Feed me, I'll come back.
Jay, thank you so much. That was very, very interesting. We appreciate your time. I do have one thing I forgot to bring up earlier. I'm looking for some volunteers to do a vocational program. Looking at you, Cody, you put your time in. You get at least a month off. But is there anybody that wants to be a speaker? We have an opening next week. And then we have a,
You said you wanted to use that for club business.
we can. I didn't know if I had enough stuff to cover for 30
I didn't
minutes.
look for anybody, but yeah, we can do.
Well, I was just kind of putting it out
Yeah, we
there.
can do that, we can.
Shelley graciously volunteered. She'll be our speaker September 22nd because we do have one on the 15th.
Carol hasn't done it.
Volunteer Carol Bob.
Would you mind doing it next week?
Next week.
Or do you want to do September 8th? I think it is.
Next week, I can do it.
Next week?
I mean,
Okay.
it's gonna be real short and sweet.
Joni, I have the most faith in you. It's gonna be great. So August 4th. I can't believe we're going to August already.
I know, right?
Where does summer go?
You don't need to remind me.
As I'm looking at Bob, who's retired and loving life, and I'm like, summer don't matter to you. Joni, thank you. If anybody else wants to be a speaker, just reach out to me. I'd be happy to have you. I am still a new member, so the more I get to learn about you, it's just so interesting. So I really, really enjoy our vocational programs. That is all I have. Thank you very much. Thank you, Jay. Once again, we really appreciate your time today, and have a wonderful day. We'll see y'all next week.
All right.
Very nice. Seriously, Jay.
How fun.
Hey, thank you so much for speaking with us. We really appreciate it. This is a friendly reminder that how wonderful your day was at Rotary.
Oh,
Look at that anytime.
Jay is a former Rotary president.
I am.
He is a former president, yes, he is.
I was in from about 1988 to 2008.
Wow.
Just got busy and started missing a meeting here and there, and then after a while, I was like,
Thank you for coming.
it's like church.
Amazing.
It's like church.
Yeah.
You miss
Yeah.
once or twice, it gets easier.
Thank you, and thank you for what you're doing for the company. It's so needed. We appreciate you. Forget that this is.
How's everything going?
Very good.